Thanks, George. Yep, like you said, the property is located at 103 Brook Cove. This is a locally maintained roadway with minimal traffic. It serves 18 lots. The property is zoned R1A, single-family residential, where home occupations are allowed as a conditional use. I classified it under personal services. They specify hair salon, nail salon, etc., but it would just be serving a single client at a time. I'll let the applicant explain in more detail what the intention of the business is, but these are the conditions that they have submitted as part of their application. It'd be one client at a time, single employee operation, seeing 4 to 5 clients per day. My understanding is that each of the clients might have multiple dogs, 1 to 2 dogs. They will be leashed at all times when they're entering and exiting the premises, and all activities will occur indoors. As of right now, they're either proposing to have it in the existing garage or potentially build an additional structure to have the use contained indoors. As far as standards for the home occupation, I can kind of just quickly read through these. This is what the zoning ordinance tells us to look at when we're looking at a home occupation. Operated by and employs only persons residing on the premises. The use of the dwelling unit for the home occupation shall be clearly incidental and subordinate to its use for residential purposes by its occupants. No more than one conditional use permit shall be granted per premises. There shall be no change in the outside appearance of the dwelling or premises or visible evidence of the conduct of such home occupation. There may be limited sales on the premises. No traffic shall be generated by such home occupation in greater volumes than what would be expected in a residential neighborhood. No equipment or process shall be used in such home occupation that creates noise, vibration, glare, fumes, odors, etc. Additional parking or other items may be required as a condition. A change of use zoning permit is required prior to commencement of the business. The only one that I think you might want to think about is potentially noise, with dogs being the clients in this case, and I think there is sufficient parking on site to handle one client at a time. I think traffic considerations wouldn't exceed significantly what you would expect for a residential area, so those are some of the things I consider. But is there any questions for me on this one? Okay.
Is the applicant here?
Yeah, I'm kind of just looking to slow down a little bit and,
State your name.
oh, I'm sorry. Renee Hunley, 103 Brook Cove. I am the resident of 103 Brook Cove, and I am looking to just do pampering dogs and grooming dogs out of my home or out of my garage. And we are kind of, seeing what my options are to see, like on the back side of my garage, having a little outdoor building and fixing it up and stuff, to do it out there at the back side of the house. But a lot of my clients, they come in, they pretty much, they're in a rush, go to work, just drop the dog off at a certain time of the day. A lot of times, 8 o'clock. I got one, some of them, maybe 9 o'clock or something like that. And I got afternoon, sometimes they're 1 o'clock and they pick up after work. And a lot of my clients' dogs, they're pretty well knowing me. I've done them for over 10 years. They kind of watch me, what I do. So they kind of want, wait, unless they hear their mom or their dad or something. A lot of them, they're pretty well settled in. A lot of times it takes 2 to 3 hours it depends the dog, bathing and drying. A lot of times, they have to kennel dry. I do big dogs. Some of them, they're the biggest babies. They just come in and let's get the show on and and just do what I want to do on them. Quit.
You've been doing this for
10 years. I'm at Save-A-Lot Plaza over there right now. And our contract is coming up in December. And I'm trying to see what my options is because I'm kind of wanting to slack back some. And with the overhead kind of deal, I'm not able to do that with my, I'm doing, 6, 7, 8 dogs. And it's just getting a lot on me, especially when I'm getting older and getting my body. So I'm kind of wanting to just kind of come down from that and just do, I guess she said, 4 to 5 dogs a day. A lot of my clients, they do have 2 to 3 dogs. So a lot of times, when they come in, it's just one car. They're just pulling up, dropping them off, just a few minutes, and they leave until I give them a call when they're all ready. Usually we do have crates for them to come in and lay down in and settle in. They come in running. I can't even talk to my clients because their dog's pulling me towards the back to get into their crates. I've got dogs, because they know me so long and they love me, they just come in pushing my gate open. I can't get up there fast enough to. So they kind of come in, they lay down a lot of times, just watch and wait. And yes, they don't go out. And I do have some clients that has to drop off in the morning, and they do have to pick up after work. So sometimes I don't get them going right off because sometimes when they do know they're done, their mom and dad or somebody be there to pick them up. But so I kind of wait on them, and they just sit and wait patiently. I do take them out a little bit, to do their little potty break on a leash and stuff, because, I treat them as what somebody else want, it's safety is what I, worry about. They go out and potty or something like that. Some of my dogs, if they're there that long. No, we were looking into converting either my garage or checking. We've been checking in and talking to zoning about having one of them outdoor buildings put in behind the garage and have it set up for, behind my garage, there's a good size opening. I'm not sure exactly the size of it, that a nice little building that would fit between the back of the house that would work pretty good too on it and fix it up, and they can just come in and. But if I do it out my garage, I want to redo my garage door to have the windows in it so I can see out and have a door on the side of the garage. That way people can come in on the side of on this one side to come in the door. No, there ain't no kennels. No. I don't, not into kenneling dogs outside or anything like that. They stay in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right now, not really, because I'm just been so booked and overwhelmed a little bit. Now, a lot of my dogs are getting older, the age. I have lost several older dogs. That's kind of depressing when I get to talking about them, but I do have a bond with my older dogs. They all got their own personality and their own little hiccup and stuff, and I kind of learned that, and they know me, and they know how I do things and stuff, and they trust me. I've got a guy I've been going around, he's got a golden doodle, and I finally did take him on, and the last time he came in, he's actually coming in tomorrow, he's coming in about every 4 or 5 weeks, and he was amazed last time because the dog came with me. He never went with nobody else. But it's just a bond. It's taking the time with them. And when you're doing 7, 8 dogs, you're just not getting that bond with them because you're just working on them real quick, putting them up, and, just going back and forth. I got to slow down. I want to enjoy what I do, not rushing, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking at doing.
How many dogs would be on your premises at any one time?
At one time, of course, sometimes I do, like, about maybe 3, 4 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, but it depends on, like, a lot of times my dogs in the morning are done by the afternoon because they can pick up at their lunch break. Or a lot of older couples, I do have a lot of older couples when their dogs, I get them in and out because they like to have their little puppies home. So a lot of times, they're not there, if I call somebody, unless it's one that has to stay because they have to work until 4:30 or something like that. A lot of times I'm looking at maybe 4 dogs at the most. Yeah.
When you take them out to the potty, you take them out one at a time?
Oh, yeah. None of my dogs mingles with each other unless it's in the same household. And then a lot of times I ask them if they can go in the same crate. Some don't like the same crate. Some say, yeah, they're fine in the same crate together. But once I get them bathed and dry, they go in a separate cage and all that. None of my dogs don't mingle. I don't take that responsibility on any dog. Oh, no. Nothing like that. They need 24/7. They got to be, I'm right there with them the whole time. If I take them out, they're with me, run them out, let them potty, and they come right back in. No, it's not. Now, it has changed on this one, the far left side of it. I do have a fence area there that's for my garden. That's to keep my dog out of it. And I also got about 8 chickens back there.
How would you go about keeping your backyard clean?
Oh, we do have Pooper Scooper, my husband. He does our own dog too. Yeah, we keep, he does like go out all the time and does a pooping scooping.
Question about an additional building on the garage, is that an issue, or would that come back to us as a second question?
You could require it to come back if you want. I felt comfortable with it because she brought it to our attention as part of this application that could potentially be added on. If you all want to see those plans and have her bring it back, if she were to propose that.
It would not necessarily have to come back to us.
No, I don't think in this instance, unless Henry disagrees with me.
I thought you wouldn't talk about building, you was talking about adding building.
Added building, yeah,
Yeah.
just one of them like little storage buildings and then fixing it up, insulating it and just kind of fix it up and put a tub and stuff like that in it. It's already pre-built, so, I know when I called and talking about, on the zoning part, I want to, just seeing what the square footage is on a building and for a permit and all that. I talked to Rusty Cox on that or something other, but then I just got into checking in more about getting it approval or something and kind of going from there.
Preston, were you talking about the requirement that home occupations not affect the external appearance of the residence? I think what she's describing is something that would be permissible in its own right. And I think that, if that provision is, in your judgment, but perhaps more intended towards preventing something that shows it being a commercial establishment rather than, a regular addition that could be purposed for this use. But as Michaela said, it's in your judgment if you want to require that to be brought back before the board as any kind of modification to this permit.
That's beyond my expertise, sorry.
Yeah, see, I haven't got into checking to see what the, asking, more questions about if that's what I can do or not. So it was all depends on what I was able to do. I'm able to do how I'm able to do it. Yeah, I know a lot, but every one of them around there's got one. So I don't.
No signs.
No, I ain't gonna have no signs. A lot of my clients, when I tell them where I'm at or something, they probably just, they know where I'm at and not having a sign or nothing. Might have maybe a open and close on my garage door or something. That way they kind of know.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Anyone here to speak in support? Yeah. Quick, state your name and address and your promise that your testimony will be true and correct.
My name is Barbara Hedges, and I live in the yellow house next door to Renee. And my statements will be true and correct. I know these people pretty well. I know that the pooper scooper is used way more than we use it. Our yard is fenced in. I also know how much she loves dogs, and she will follow the rules. She's a rule follower. We have several neighbors who actually get their dogs done by her, so that's probably why you don't see people here resisting at all. I don't think the parking will be a problem because there'll be one car at a time. She has a long driveway. I just wanted to say that I think it's a great idea for her and for our neighborhood. I don't think it would be a problem at all. That house is one from the corner. There's one house on this side of her and one across the street from her, and then the one across the street from us. It's a dead-end street. I just don't see. So they would pull into her driveway, back out, and leave. So you're only going past two houses. So I don't think there would be any kind of traffic issue. Okay.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? If you will state your name and address and your promise that your testimony will be true and correct.
My name is Debbie Wagner. My husband and I are here. Everything that I say is true. I live at 117 Angela Drive. I'm actually in the Streamland subdivision. So I believe we got this notice because we back up. Our backyards would be backing up to what the proposed business would be. So that's why I'm sure that we got the notice. Good. Sorry. Usually I don't need that. I'm pretty loud. Sorry. Thank you. Just wanted to say that I appreciate the fact of what we're trying to do, and I understand all that. Where we were concerned about is the noise issue, needless to say, because we literally will be backing up against each other. We already have one neighbor on Shakertown Road that has a dog, and we love dogs, but he's very loud and constantly barking and all. I just can't imagine what it would be like to have a business there that would be just constantly coming in and out with the dogs and all. And I understand that you're trying very hard, and I get that, I do. But I don't know how you could have that many dogs in and out without there being some kind of a noise issue. Also, that neighborhood is one entrance and one exit, that you can only go in one and go back out the other. So that, to me, sounds like that could very well have some issues as far as traffic. I know where they're talking about, and yes, I understand you could just go in, but you still have to go in, you still have to go out one way or the other. Also, too, I'm sure you're a very kind, wonderful person. Don't get me wrong, and I appreciate the fact that somebody's supporting you there. But in all honesty, if we do this, who polices this after it gets going? if we have an issue, if there is noises, if there is issues, one way or the other, that is just, it's gotten out of her control one way or the other, how do we maintain that someone will be listening to us when we come in and say it's gotten out of hand at all? And honestly, folks, it's a residential place. It's not supposed to have a business there. It's residential. That's why we live there. That's why we love it. And I just feel like that is not the place for that. Lastly, it's the thicket that actually separates us. So our backyards would be that. That thicket has been long a very dear to us because, again, it not only separates us, but children go back there and play a lot in that little thicket area. And I would hate to see that too, if there was going to be any kind of additional building at all, I would hate to see any of that cut down because, again, it serves a purpose. It gives us a lot of privacy, and that privacy is very much needed there, and we so appreciate that, being able to have that. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Would the applicant like to offer any rebuttal?
Yes. For one, the thicket, we are not cutting that down. We like our privacy. It cuts us off from anybody behind us and all that, and that's that area back there, we always did, we maintain it. We set back there all summer. We got a fire pit back there. We're not talking about building back in there or anything. It's like right behind that little area behind the garage. Yeah, that little bitty area back there is where I'm talking about having the building. So that far back or up to the house, and like I said, with a lot of the dogs, we're planning on insulating and all that with the noise-wise. That's just with my neighbor over here on the other side of me. I hear their dogs all the time. The house here on this main road up here with the big wooden fence that's actually next to them, they've got, several dogs all the time barking. So this is, I'm talking about, this is minimum barking, if any. And a lot of times I tell a lot of my dogs, I talk to my dogs. I tell them not to yell at me all the time or something like that if they do. Now I got, maybe one dog that likes to think I'm killing him with a force dryer or something because he gets so excited. But a lot of times you don't really, it's not like I'm doing it for hours or anything like that on him, and then he settles down after I quit. I just kind of want to make sure, thinking that green right back there, that stays, that we are not getting rid of that. I'm just talking about having something like that on the back side of the house. Sometimes my dogs now do have, I do a lot of clients from the school system, the Boyle County School or something like that. Sometimes they have to drop off around 7:20 or something like that. I do one dog, two dogs, and they are quite, that is the Loftons, and they work for the bakery on Wednesday. They run the bakery. I do his Newfoundland and his little dog. They have to drop off 7 o'clock. And the reason that is because they have to get away between making breads. So I do work with them. A lot of times on the school, that's every 5 weeks, I think he comes in. Most of my dogs are around 8:30 in the morning when they drop off. Yeah, there is one Saturday that's every 8 weeks that I do work. I just done one Saturday. I do a couple little small dogs because they can't do weekdays, and that's the only Saturday I ever work. I don't do no more Saturdays than that.
The only time they're outside one at a time, and they're on the
On a leash. They own a slip. They actually no slip leash don't trust their collars or anything. They get on a no slip leash. Yes, one at a time. Thanks. I just want to kind of point that out a little bit on the greenway.
And I didn't ask, is there anyone else here in opposition? Hearing none, we will close the public portion of the hearing for the board. Any discussion?
Any potential building with things in the zoning guidelines of district, rules for anytime animals are outside,
And I think it's important to point out, and Mr. Smith, please correct me if I'm wrong, that any conditional use that's granted can also be revoked if it's not operating within the standards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to bring that up to the question about how policing works. If evidence were brought to planning and zoning that conditions were not being followed, the same thing that's happening now would happen. We'd have a hearing for revocation, and that the permit could go away if conditions were not being followed.
So you would call planning and zoning if you had any issues?
Just like the people on Main Street, on the Maple Avenue, and they've been so upset about that dog kennel, just saying.
We're not here to talk about that.
I agree, sir, I agree, yeah. I agree.
Any more discussion? Is there a motion? Motion in favor of the applicant, is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, we outlined a couple of conditions just now, or Preston did.
Thank you.
And those conditions, I think, were bathroom breaks, one dog at a time, leashed, no dogs outside unattended. Any construction shall follow zoning ordinance and building code guidelines. Was that the extent of it? All right, thank you. And
Vicky, your second? Yes. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion? Looks like the motion passes unanimously. You are, okay. So all opposed? One. And motion carries. Thank you. Our next hearing is Teresa Smothers on behalf of Edward Jones has applied for a variance to allow a second freestanding sign on the 0.07 acre property known as 440 West Martin Luther King Boulevard. The property is zoned central business, which within this court over CP constitution. And the applicant is here. If you would state your name and address and promise that your testimony is true and correct.
Okay, my name is Teresa Smothers. My testimony is true and honest. I am a financial advisor with Edward Jones. I recently moved my office to 440 West 4th Street. I am in the building with the I Associates of Danville. And I'm actually, if you look there, I'm on the left upstairs in the suite 100 upstairs. The current sign, I think, is grandfathered in, and I couldn't put a sign, an Edward Jones sign under that because it created a visibility issue for the road. So I did get with the owners of the building, which is Dr. Rivard, Dr. Ramsey, and Dr. Scott. and they weren't opposed to me putting a sign over in the grassy area in between those two vehicles there, in order to, let my clients know where my business is. I've been there since the end of May. I absolutely love it because I had no parking where I was at before. And so I think based upon the historical area, there's not right now allowed two signs on the property unless we go through the variance. So but the little yellow sign over there is just kind of what we're asking to put up in the grassy area in front of the two windows to the left. So I have a 5-year lease there. I've been there since May. My clients, of course, we've notified my clients where we're at, but sometimes it's hard for them to say, where are you at? And we have to kind of direct them in because we don't have any signs up there yet. So I've been operating out of that building since the end of May. And I definitely need a sign for my clients to know where I'm at and to serve the clients in my community, so.
Yeah. No, that's okay. She summed it up pretty well. I was just going to explain the planning jargon behind why we're looking at this variance. The existing sign, it's a non-conforming structure. That's what we would classify it as. The board cannot grant a variance to enlarge a non-conforming structure, so you all wouldn't even have that option. We can't grant a permit for it, and on top of that, like she said, I do have big safety concerns with adding on to that sign as is. It's just a visibility issue when you're trying to pull out of that parking lot, so you wouldn't want to see, any additional signage on that. So that's kind of why we're here today with the variance. She has run this by Joni House, who's the staff person for the Architectural Heritage Board. So they've been in contact, and I think my understanding is Joni's comfortable with the proposal. So that's what we're looking at. No, it's okay.
So we can't put the sign on the existing sign?
It needs to be 10 feet from the pavement, and you can see it's not meeting that 10-foot. So it's not really a size issue, it's the location.
Is there anyone here to speak in support of that?
Hello, I'm Ella Clay with USA Signs, and the address is 440 West Martin Luther King for this location, and my testimony is true. And so Teresa can't have a sign on the existing non-conforming sign because of the visibility issue. Also, the second sign that we're proposing does fall within the historic guidelines. It's non-lighted. It's really small. It's only 12 square feet. And it's decorative, it's non-invasive, and it'll go back behind the sidewalk in the grass. And so she currently has no sign, so she really does need something there, to show her clients where she's at. So that's our case for getting her a second. It's a really small sign. I mean, it's 3 by 4. It's only 12 square feet. So. That's our case. Okay.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public portion of the hearing and board will vote.
that the regs as applied would prohibit an ordinary usage for that vicinity by prohibiting a sign for commercial use, and that the existing non-conforming sign is prohibitive to adding a sign for the applicant.
Motion and second. For discussion's sake. Just want to point out, she doesn't have a sign at all. Yeah. It's not necessary.
Yeah, this would not be granting the sign permit. She'll still have to get the COA from the DHB, the Certificate of Appropriateness from the Architectural Heritage Board, and then she'll get the sign permit from us once we have that COA in place. So this is just allowing us to process that permit once it gets through.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? No. And the motion carries.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
And Ally, you always treat.
Yes, I do, that's right, George.
Okay, our next hearing is Jeff and Ann Albright, Lee Walker, and Andrew Walker have applied for a conditional use permit for the operation of a short-term rental at 406 Grand Street. The property is two-family residential, RM2. Kayla wants to give it.
Okay, sorry, we already made you go up to the podium, but I'll be brief. This is very similar to one we saw, I believe, back in September. It's also on Grant Street. It's asking for a short-term rental. It's zoned RM2. As you can see, it's pretty close to 4th Street, Houstonville Road there, close to some commercial properties. It's across the street from some multifamily use. They are looking for a short-term rental. I won't read all of the language that I've gone through in the past. I think you all are pretty familiar with what we're looking for at this point. Part of the findings is seeing what short-term rentals are within a close vicinity. I counted approximately 6. Obviously, this is the subject property here. We did just recently approve one further down on Grant Street. This one is closer to an arterial street, closer to a commercial. What's that? Yep. Closer to 4th Street. Sorry, I said an arterial street. What's that? On 4th Street? Yeah, it's away from center. Yep. Yeah. The one that we processed before was closer to Center College. This is closer to, yeah. So kind of, I can go through their conditions of approval here. They have a max capacity of 6 guests, 3 guest bedrooms, is my understanding. Off-street parking required would be 3 spaces. They do have a parking area in the back here with a pretty long driveway, so I feel that there is sufficient parking to provide 3 spaces. I did add some conditions based on what we have in the ordinance. Max rental would be 29 days to meet a short-term rental guidance. Parking area should be completely screened with landscaping. It does look like there's some plantings and things back there. It's going to be up to the board to decide if that's sufficient or not. They'll need to get a temporary zoning permit, that should be change of use zoning permit attained to prior to commencement of the use, and no additional commercial uses on site. Are there any questions for me on this one? Okay.
You are the applicant.
I am.
State your name, your address, and your testimony will be true and correct.
Yes, it will. My name's Andy Walker. Excuse me. I live at 2236 Bond Haven Road in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm here with my wife and our friends Ann and Jeff Albright, who own the property with us. We wish to use it as a short-term rental and Airbnb type property. We like the property as it can serve families, visiting families here in Danville, center families and those that like to be close to downtown, down to the main street, want to be able to walk to those businesses. So that was important to us to have that. A lot of the information is there. Maximum guests are 6. We have ample parking. But be happy to answer any questions you may have.
You have 3 bedrooms.
It's actually 2 bedrooms. We have a pull-out sofa that sleeps the 5th and 6th.
Okay. That was my mistake. The ordinance reads that you can have 2 guests per room. It doesn't clarify as bedroom, but, so I just interpreted it to be 3, but, so you all can decide if you want to cap that at 4 guests with the 2 bedrooms, or if you feel comfortable with 6.
Would this be, multiple rentals at the same time, or is it just one booking?
One booking. Yes, whole house.
You live in Lexington,
I do.
and your partners live in Lexington,
Yes.
so there's no one involved who resides in Danville.
Not really. We have children that go to Center College, so we're here often. We love Danville, so.
I guess I asked that from a standpoint of oversight.
Yeah, so we're on the very south side of Fayette County, so getting here 35, 40 minutes is typical. We maintain cameras on all the entries to the house and on the driveway, so that we can just kind of keep an eye that what our guests say is they're there to do is what they do. So. I do not. We do not.
I'm not even sure how to phrase my question.
Okay.
It's about, teen or garden parties, weddings or receptions, when there might be a lot, an afternoon where there might be a lot of guests coming, going. What are your thoughts on that?
We don't anticipate any garden parties. We make it clear in our posting that there are to be no parties. Now, the parties are defined as those that aren't registered guests cannot be there. I believe it's 10 o'clock p.m. to 7 or 8 a.m., something along that line. So we do encourage families to gather, but we're probably talking at the most, I'd say 10 folks at the most, if they have family here in Danville. So it would not be, I don't see it as a risk of a party. We don't want that going on, so.
Have you talked to the neighbors? Right.
I have not, as you're facing the property, on the left is a commercial building. Across is multifamily. And then next to us, I think we talked to one of the lady that lived there went into a nursing home and recently passed. So we don't know what the plan is for that house.
Mr. Walker, I think what Dr. Miles was getting at was that for parties, tea parties, garden parties, other gatherings, that would require an additional conditional use permit. You would have to come back before the board to request permitting for that type of usage.
Okay, we don't anticipate that being part of it, so, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition?
Thank you for your time. My name is Jeffrey Alford. I reside at 498 Grant Street, and my testimony will be true and correct. I am a new resident of Danville, purchased the home that I reside in on Grant Street in July. Since this past July, since that time, I have spent $20,000 on improvements on the exterior of the house and the landscaping with the intention of improving the neighborhood, actually. It's a nice neighborhood. We're immediately across the street from the Center College campus. Pleasant place, pleasant street. And we had hoped by purchasing this home and moving here that we would add to that the positive aspect of the home. In that light, I would like to refer you to a study, a 2021 study that was done by Northeastern University on the proliferation of short-term rentals and Airbnbs on residential neighborhoods. This study was conducted by Dan O'Brien, Associate Professor of Public Policy and Urban Affairs, and his colleague Babette Hadry, Associate Professor of Engineering at Northeastern University. The study was published in peer-reviewed scientific journal, Public Library of Science. And I'd just like to read a few excerpts from that research. They found that a proliferation of Airbnbs or similar short-term rentals in a neighborhood contributes to higher rates of crime in the area, according to this study. And I quote a portion of the study: "The relationship is likely because the highly transient housing, quote, pokes holes in the social fabric of the neighborhood," close quote. The researchers found that it was the proportion of buildings with at least one home sharing listing and not the volume of tourists cycling through such units. They had the greatest, indeed only measurable effect on crime in the neighborhood. For these findings, it troubles me greatly to see more Airbnbs or short-term rentals appearing in this neighborhood in particular. But in this case in particular, it causes me even greater concern realizing or knowing that the landlord is an absentee landlord in this case. And so I'm concerned, I'm troubled, and I certainly do not wish to see more homes, Airbnbs of this kind on that street because of the crime issues. I'm finished. Questions?
Is there anyone else here to speak in opposition?
Hi, my name is Laura Scott. I also live at 498 Grant Street. I'm Jeff's wife. I also want to speak in opposition. Being from the Indianapolis area, I've seen what the Airbnb situation can be, especially with landlords not living, directly in the area or somewhere on the site. It becomes a real problem. Even on the street that we currently live on Grant, we know that there is the other Airbnb. I believe there's some kind of short-term rental directly behind us, and noise has been an issue, particularly students renting the property to come back for homecoming games and so on. There's been very late nights where there's tons of noise, and that is a great concern to me as well. Thank you.
I realize, I've been devil here all my life. I've been devil in that area my whole life. Not saying that crime can't happen. That's probably the reason those crime rate. My experience. So
I'll add that, thank you for making the comments about the crime. I mean, most of our inquiries are coming from people visiting family in Danville. So that's what we like to see. I mean, I'm sure every once in a while we're going to get an occasional party, but we're not, I mean, it's not something we're going to put up with. We do screen our guests. They have to have a positive review on Airbnb in order for us to accept them as our guest. We will continue to, we've made a significant investment in this house as well already, and we'll continue to do that. I mean, I hope.
Sorry. We're going to take care of that, don't
So
worry.
one thing we did do is we replaced the electric in the house, so. And paid the bill. So we have a lot of plans to improve this house. I mean, it'll happen over time. Our goal is for it to be the nicest house on the street. So we hope to be a very good neighbor to you in that regard. And we will make every effort we can to make sure it's not a deterrent to the neighborhood or a negative impact on the neighborhood. I will just add that this house, and you can see the trucks that are in the driveway, this house was previously used as a office for a painting contractor. So we've had to do a lot of work just to get it to make it be more of a house again. At that time, it had a lot of activity coming in and out. So we think actually it's going to have less with us. We anticipate to have probably one guest a week at the most on an average of 3 nights per week. So if we can do that, we'd be pretty happy. So.
What is your screening process?
So the screening process is that, can you address it? Or do you want to? Go ahead.
I'm Ann Albright. I'm one of the other owners in the house, and I live in Lexington, Kentucky, 2224 Broadhead Place. And everything I say, I promise, will be true. With the guests that are inquiring about the house, the screening process will be through the Airbnb platform. It's not going to be listed on multiple platforms. I know there are some people that will do that with several locations trying to get their property listed out there. The guests are all approved. We don't just open it up, hey, you want to stay there? Yeah, you can. They go through the process. We're notified that they would like to stay. And we also have a question, why are you coming to Danville? Why did you choose this house? What do you plan to do when you're here? Because I think it's kind of good to have an idea of who's coming into our home. I mean, it's a rental property, but we love this house. And if I could just add, because I didn't get to speak earlier, that one of the reasons we did this is coming to Danville for our children here at Center College. I'm from Kentucky. I never knew much about Danville Center College in more northeastern Kentucky. But once we were coming here all the time, it was, Danville's kind of a great place. There's a lot of places going on here. I do serve on the parent council at Center. We just kind of feel a little bit of a connection, and I know it started that with our child being here. But the house is amazing. We bought the house thinking, we don't have to do very much, and then we really have done a lot of nice things to it. We're very proud of it, and we'd like to share it with people. One of the goals is, of course, to have families that are coming back to Danville, people visiting their children. And another thing that we didn't mention is the hospital being there, the location close to 4th Street. I'm a healthcare worker. My husband's a healthcare worker. So we have friends, and we know of the people that'll go into certain areas and work for a short time that need lodging. So it was kind of more about providing that in a good environment. And we do love Grant Street. It is beautiful. And the location to get in and out of Danville and to do things downtown is really nice. So.
There should happen to be a big post-game party. And it's disturbing resident on the street. How would they know about it?
I mean, we could share the contact information with the neighbors. I think that is definitely something that we would do. Also, just you would have someone who knew where you were if the house was empty for a few weeks or there were questions for that. As mentioned, we do have the cameras that are just on the outside, and that's helpful just because you kind of see comings and goings of your property. And, if we were to notice, hey, there's 20 people walking in the front door, then that would be a situation that we would be wanting to check out. But I feel like sharing our contact information with the neighbors is appropriate, just like you would in your own neighborhood at home. Your neighbors typically know how to get a hold of you in case there's any problems or concerns. So.
Again, I'm not sure who to ask this. 6 guests is more than 2 bedrooms and parking. I'm a little anxious about that. How is, I can't really tell from the graphics here. How are we going to handle off-street parking for 6 guests?
So the driveway is so long and deep, you could probably put 4 cars in that driveway if they were staggered in, definitely 3. The van that's in that picture right there is back by the garage, and there's even space behind it. You can't really tell how deep it is from that picture. I don't know the measurements on that, but 3 cars should easily fit in that area. So, and it's 2 bedrooms. We have a hide-a-bed, like a sofa bed in there, because sometimes families with children, that's something that really works for them. I know we travel a lot and stay in Airbnbs ourselves when we go see our children's sporting events and other colleges that they're at. We also have it's like a bonus room that's beside the kitchen, but we currently don't have a bed or a sleeping structure in there. We thought about that, but right now it's just the sofa bed and the 2 bedrooms. Did you have anything else? Sorry.
There'll be someone taking care of the outside appearance, like the lawn,
It's us. We're doing the maintenance on the home, and we're doing the cleaning and care and all that. And part of that is because we aren't right here on site. You know, we want to come and make sure that everything's being maintained and taken care of. So we're taking care of that.
You would be here between guests.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I will add on the 6 guests, I mean, it does have 2 full bathrooms in the house. It's a good-sized house. It's 1,500 square feet all on one level. There is the room that is empty that we could probably convert to a bedroom if we wanted to, but we think that on average, we're gonna have 2 to 4 guests. Usually that sofa bed's gonna be used if someone has children with them that are looking to sleep a couple of children, but we wouldn't expect adults to be using that, so. And that's kind of all over the board. We have a minimum set of 150. We will do some promotional, but we kind of let Airbnb set the price too, based on demand. We've raised the price on some of what we know to be high demand weekends, but outside that, we kind of let Airbnb set the price. So their software will do that for us. That's where we have it set right now. We'll do some promotions to drop it below that, but as a general rule, the floor is 150. What's that? Yeah, I mean, that's how we got into it. We travel with Albrights, following our kids in sports and things like that, and stayed in Airbnbs, and it's a nice way to travel. The homes are always nice that we stay in. People are, I mean, I know we are, but people that stay in Airbnbs, it's important to them that they take good care of the house, that they are good guests, because they get rated as well. So you don't want to have a guest come in that's got a poor rating. So everybody's working together to make sure that it's done right. Not from that perspective. I'm a banker, so I've had a lot of clients over the years with rental properties, but not as a I don't really consider myself a landlord. We feel more like we're in the hospitality type business than landlording. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before you close the public portion, may I respond?
Do you have a question or a statement? Okay, well, we'll just keep it kind of brief. We don't normally offer rebuttal to rebuttal.
Yeah, I would just, Jeffrey Alford again. I would just like to respond to the statements about nice, good people, good family people occupying this facility. I don't quarrel with that at all. I suspect that they will be, parents of Center College students, and I have no concerns about the quality of people who might be renting on short term. But the research clearly shows that it's the transient, highly transient nature of Airbnbs, people coming and going all the time, that cause crime problems and poke holes in the social fabric of the neighborhood.
My question is this. I noticed, I looked at one where you guys had previously denied a request for an Airbnb, and it appears that you sent out a postcard to the neighbors. The only reason we knew about this hearing was because we were walking and we saw the sign. Is there any way that the other neighbors can be made aware of this with a postcard of some sort? I just feel that more input should be required for something like this because this is not a commercial street. Yes, sir.
Let Michaela answer that, and I think it just goes to the community.
It just goes to adjoining property owners. We send a notification letter to, then we put the sign out and we put an ad in the newspaper. I'm not sure if the owner took that on themselves to inform the neighbors. That's possible, but that wouldn't have been something P&Z did. Yep.
I'm anxious about
Um, okay, this one here? Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. It hasn't come through since I've been here. Yeah. Um, I'm not sure. I just went to Airbnb and pulled up a screen grab. I didn't put any filters or anything on it, you know, so, okay. Okay, okay. Yep, yep. I mean, as you can see, a lot of them are kind of concentrated on 4th Street and more commercial zoning districts, but you do see a few in the residential. They're permitted in commercial, they have to come through you all for residential, so.
If I might humbly request that the board make sure that their microphones are turned on for discussion.
He's asking if you're amenable to limiting it to 4 adults. So that would allow for, yeah, we wouldn't be putting it on 6 guests, so it'd just be you can't have more than 4 adults. So you couldn't have 3 couples come in or something like that, yeah.
Just trying to think how to manage that through Airbnb. That could be tougher. I mean, we really would prefer to have the 6. I mean, we could make that one room into another bedroom. I mean, right now it's zoned 2-family, RM2, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, I mean, you have 2 families in there, you're looking at, very easily 5, 6 people, if not more. So I think it meets it from that perspective, but.
I think what we're saying is 4 adults.
Yeah. It would be, yeah. The challenge with that for us would be that it doesn't let you set the number of adults and number of children. It's the number of people the house will sleep. So. We'll make it try. No, I understand. But I want to be able to meet what you're asking. So obviously my preference is to be 6, but.
I mean, I'm sure you can set rules for your tenant.
Okay.
The rule would be, 4 adults.
Is that just maybe a blanket overlay as an RM2?
What do you mean, sorry? Well, RM2 doesn't require that it's built as a duplex or twin home. You can do single-family residential. This home was built as a single-family residential, so you typically apply R1A standards to it, but. Is that what you meant? Sorry. Yeah, probably, there are some duplexes and things on that street as far as I'm aware, but I think so, yeah. Yeah, especially in the older part of town, you see some zoning that might not be appropriate for some areas, but.
Right across the street is at least 2. I think it's 3 units, possibly 4.
Yeah, There's definitely some multifamily on that street, but some of it grandfathered, some of it meeting RM2 standards, so.
Thank you.
I want to be clear on thing. Are they asking to be a maximum of 6 people? My thinking on that is, and it's just my thinking, if, probably just keep it at 6 people, try to break it down. I mean, I just think of myself, me and another couple, my wife and another couple are coming, probably don't have kids in the same way. So I was just, think it'd be easier on all of us to keep a maximum of 6 people, about, what it is, 4 adults, 2 kids, 1 person, 5 kids. I just think it'd be easier if you just say 6 people maximum. So we can have 4 adults, 2 kids.
Excuse me, or do we have any more questions for that? No. Thank you. Anyone's leaving standing?
I personally want to support the idea of 6. I would not support limiting it to 4.
Are you in favor of passing, granting the conditional?
Yes,
Is that a motion?
yes.
Henry, would you help Mr. Brown with this motion?
I think the only question I'd want to ask of Mr. Brown is, do you think you could make a finding that the number of rooms proposed, which I guess we're considering it 3 guest rooms, do you find that that will not have an adverse effect on surrounding properties? Okay, that's a necessary finding in these short-term rental hearings. I think we've talked about how there are other short-term rentals in the area, and there's also multifamily housing in the area. And we've also heard testimony about the proposed use for this and screening renters based on their proposed use of the property.
I didn't hear you.
That was your motion.
Yes, that's fine, yes. I move that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? 1, 2, 3. Opposed? Motion carries. Is that correct?
Yes,
Majority?
yep, it's a majority. Yep.
That concludes all of the hearings for tonight. Is there any old business?
Sorry, what was that?
Any old business?
No.
There is new business.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if we were gonna meet in December or not, so I wanted to prepare, so we didn't have to do a special call for our next meeting in 2024.
How would we handle December?
I think we have a proposed schedule in front of you all, and you just approve it, and then I think we just take a motion on it. Yeah.
I did.
We might be recorded.
Sorry.
So we need to approve the calendar on the back page?
Yes.
I make a motion, we approve the 2024 calendar.
I second.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? One other thing. Did you have anything else on your business?
No, that was it.
You'll send everybody a list of, their board term stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure when mine expires and our educational needs.
Yep.
And I was kind of thinking, do I expire before my education?
I will send that out. Yeah.
Say term in office.
Okay, term in office.
I will be out of the office tomorrow, but I will try and remind myself to send that out next week when I'm back. And if you don't hear from me, feel free to just email me. I will write a note for myself when I get back, but just, yeah.
Is there any other new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I second.
All in favor?